My name is Caleb Lee. Today, I will be discussing the Red Cross data breach that occurred on January of 2022. Before we talk about the incident itself, it's important to give a little bit of information regarding who was vulnerable to this attack. The Red Cross, as you may know, is an international humanitarian organization, and their primary specialization is in crisis relief and emergency education, and their job is to provide said relief to various people around the world in various countries. And as you may guess, millions of people across the world use this data on a daily basis. And as such, it's important to protect this data so that they don't have anything exposed to cybersecurity vulnerabilities or attacks. However, it just so happens that on this day, that's exactly what happened. On January 18th, 2022, a data breach occurred which revealed the private information of over 515,000 people. The primary sub-branch of the Red Cross that was affected was the Family Links program. And because of this attack, the data stream that was originally designed to reconnect those separated due to wars, crisis, famine, or other natural causes was temporarily cut off as the program was struggling to essentially claim this data back. And this is significant because without this data, the Red Cross can't do anything with it unless they have this data reclaimed from the cybersecurity attack. Said attack wasn't made noticeable to the organization until roughly 70 days after the cybersecurity breach first occurred on November 2021. As for what specifically happened, it's a little bit complicated. The main suspect happened to be a backdoor in the authentication module, and what this allowed the hackers to do is gain admin privileges when they shouldn't have. And once they had set admin privileges, they were allowed to freely traverse the server without being inhibited. And one of the things that they did with it, and what is perhaps the most significant, is that they essentially got access to all of the encryption keys in the database that gave access to 515,000 users worth of data. All of this happened because of one single vulnerability that allowed them to do all of this stuff. Although it's a little bit more complicated than that, too. Now, why did the protective measures work? There are two primary suspects. There's the hackers themselves, as well as the framework of the Red Cross. Now, the attacks were made with tactics that made their attacks undetectable initially. And this was a fault of both the hackers as well as the framework itself, because there wasn't a well defined endpoint detection method that could be traced, that allowed them to be traced. And what this means is that there wasn't an ability to track this data until it was too late. And this patch to security wasn't installed until after the attack. And it turns out that despite that there was various countermeasures to prevent malware to be installed into the program, it wasn't 100% successful. And as you may know, and as a result of the attack, the malware allowed them to gain access to the data that they shouldn't have been able to have access to, partly because of their administration, their admin privileges, as well as the framework of the network itself. As a result of this, the Red Cross has been promoting users to reach out to their servers to regain the lost data. In addition, the organization has been striving to gain contact with multiple governments and states to make sure that this doesn't happen again by furthering education regarding cybersecurity as well as protection of the organization itself. And security measures have been emphasized and vulnerabilities have been worked to be patched, and any previous cybersecurity efforts have now been accelerated as a need to prevent something like this from happening again in the future. Now, why is this important in the grand scheme of things? Well, as we found out, vulnerabilities, as small as they are, can lead to damage for a sustained amount of time if they are not addressed quickly or if they're not accounted for, and they can account in any layer of the software. So we need to be aware of what's happening at all layers of security and network access to be sure that something like this is unlikely to happen. Thank you.